Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome. This is the Windup, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly college baseball show. As always, I am Chris Phillips. He is Harrison Fant, and we have got a ton to discuss. Another electric weekend of SEC baseball. We had upsets. We had statements made. We had everything in between. And once again, we are here breaking it all down, reacting to it here on this Monday, as well as previewing the midweek slate upcoming on Tuesday and Wednesday. Guys, again, welcome in. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today to get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $200 in bonus bets today. The fourth conference weekend of the SEC baseball season is officially in the books, and we are here reacting to everything that took place over the weekend. We had statements made. We had a massive upset and a little bit of everything in between. Once again, guys, this is the Windup, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly college baseball show and the best college baseball show on the internet. I am Chris Phillips. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, my colleague, my partner in crime, Harrison Fant. He joins me once again live from Augusta, Georgia. You see both of us decked out in the Masters gear. Harrison doing the Lord's work this week, doing whatever he needs to do to make sure one of the most prestigious sporting events in the world happens flawlessly. Harrison, what's up, man? Appreciate you taking the time.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a blessing to be back in Augusta, Georgia, where the center of the golf world will be for the next 8 days, starting tomorrow on Monday. And excited to be back. This is my fourth Masters now, third year working on operations and facilitating a lot of things over there. And in regards to headwear operations. So got to rock a new lid, got to represent the set. You know, it is. I mean, win in Rome, right? Win in Rome, but it's awesome. And, you know, trying to double dip with this in college baseball. So jam-packed schedule, looking forward to recapping yet another, Chris, incredible weekend that we had. And maybe in a way that none of us thought about. And I know sure enough that most people didn't think happened, but I'm excited to break it down. We got a lot to talk about.
We got a ton to discuss, Harrison. Before we do, like I mentioned, you are working the Masters yet again, which good on you, happy for you, excited for you. You're decked out in the Masters gear. I've got this Azalea polo on and the Masters hat. Yeah, the Azalea. Shout out to the guys over at Roback. We worked with them previously. Love this polo. Got it last year. Got the Masters lit on. Are you a big golf guy, Harrison? Like outside of you are a big. Okay, so we are. I know probably some that are tuned in us right now. They don't give a damn about golf, but I feel like we are the epitome of washed up PO that got obsessed with golf after their playing days were over. We are
like most baseball players.
Yes, we are the. So I'm sure there's many of you baseball folk out there. You absolutely resonate with what we're talking about. You love golf as well.
Funny enough, Chris.
Yeah.
I was a left-handed pitcher, and then I batted lefty as well. Funny enough, I used to play golf lefty growing up, and then about high school, I switched and started playing righty because I didn't have clubs yet. I used my dad's clubs and just like, I'll figure it out. Sure enough, I did, and I was hitting it just as great and a little bit straighter, a little shorter distance, but a little straighter, and just ran with it. And, you know, a lot easier to find righty clubs, so.
Yeah, I am a lefty also, as you know, but I've always swung righty. That's been since I was a kid. I've actually got a buddy of mine, though, one of my best friends that I played with in high school. He played college ball over at USC Aiken in South Carolina. Was an infielder, left-handed hitter, plays golf right-handed, but he putts left-handed. It is the most backwards thing ever.
Both, that's wild.
The amount of guys I've seen that can hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but they cannot hit a ball sitting still on a tee is why golf is fascinating. But either way, we're not here to talk about golf. I'll be watching it all week long. You'll be there all week long. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, 'tis the season. We're obviously in the spirit. But Harrison, we are here to talk about the weekend that was in the SEC on the diamond, and we have got a ton to discuss. I know there are obviously a few headliner series we're going to get into, but as we always do, I want to start with the series that started on Thursday, went Thursday to Saturday, and then we'll get into the Friday through Sunday. So let's start, Harrison. Again, we had two series that went Thursday through Saturday, or at least started on Thursday. The LSU Tigers sweep Oklahoma in Norman. This was a series. You and I both went LSU. Our guy, Jake McKeever, went Oklahoma. But the way that LSU did it, I don't even think you and I saw this coming. I don't think any of us really predicted a sweep over this weekend. LSU absolutely dominant on the bump. Harrison, they only used 6 pitchers the entire series. Now, when you have one guy go with CG, that helps. But still, they only used 6 pitchers on the weekend. They did not allow an earned run.
Yeah.
Everybody stop and think about how insane that is, that you don't even allow an earned run against a quality Oklahoma team.
And they
that
played
had been really good.
27 innings, Chris, too.
And they played a full 27, right? There was no run rule here. But the tone was set, Hiberson, with what Cade Anderson did on Thursday night. I mean, it was masterful watching him go CG shutout. You highlighted first time since 2018, CG shutout, first CG since Paul Skeens did it in 2023 against Tulane in the postseason. But, LSU's been impressive to this point, Hiberson. And I know we talked about Oklahoma. Maybe we had some concerns, but wildly impressive weekend by the Tigers.
Absolutely. I think it was a statement weekend by the Tigers in a way that people weren't really thinking about to do it on the road in the SEC. I know Oklahoma, playing at Oklahoma, it's their first time that they've played in the state of Oklahoma, LSU that is, and it's not a hostile environment. It's not like they played at Texas, early in the season, or they're playing at the Dude or whatnot. But, I mean, to use, like you said, only 5 pitchers, I mean, obviously, only having to use one in game one, throwing a complete game shutout. But, I mean, they gave up 15 hits total in the game, but spread them out across 27 innings. And I think the biggest thing is, we just know, I think it's solidified who the relievers are, obviously, in the bullpen for LSU, and Case and Evans, and just, a stud that he is on the mound, and how, important he is to the role. And then, like I said, I was huge on Chase Shores. I mean, even though he's had 4 walks, he scattered them. And Zach Cowan, I talked about last week how impressed I was with him on the mound, and just now the length that he's able to give to go 4 innings on the mound in relief. I mean, that just shows kind of the versatility of him, be able to come in a high leverage situation in 1 inning, or if it needs to be 2, 3, in this situation 4, and shut down Oklahoma's offense that had some struggles throughout the season. And that was the concerns coming into the year we had. But I mean, like I said, Chris, leading into the series, I said they need to win Kyson Witherspoon start if they're going to win this series at all, because the struggles they've had the mound with Cade Crossland and then Malachi Witherspoon only continued this series against LSU, except for Malachi had a much better start. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, but only 1 of them earned. Doesn't help you out there. But when the bats are cold like they were against LSU's pitching staff, I mean, that's what's going to happen when you run into a team of really good arms in the bullpen, but then a deep lineup that can hit with deep bench as well. And so they're into a red-hot LSU that's playing their best baseball right now, and went it to Norman and came back to Baton Rouge with a series sweep, Chris.
You mentioned, too, the cold bats, Everson. It was a cold weekend. I don't know if you noticed this, but it was 40 degrees on the final
I mean, Friday night, they were all in the big puffer jackets.
Yeah. I was talking to one of our good buddies down in Baton Rouge. He said it hadn't been 40 degrees. They haven't felt those kind of temperatures since it snowed in Baton Rouge like 2 months ago. Yeah. So it's been quite a while since they played in that.
This 30-3 start to the season is LSU's best start since 2013 when they went 31-2.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that jumped out to me, Harrison, I couldn't believe this. I believe coming into the weekend, Oklahoma led the SEC in stolen bases, or at minimum stolen base attempts. Not a single stolen base on the weekend.
Yeah, that was a big too.
Think about how crazy that is.
Yeah, I mean that
there's not a lot of traffic, and nobody was that's really good defense too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it plays to the pitching staff being able to hold him on, but also when you have a catcher like Luis Hernandez who has a cannon behind him, behind home plate, I mean, that just eliminates the versatility of which you can score runs. And, when you're facing a really elite pitching staff, and then the times you get a runner on, you can't even get him in a scoring position or past that, or stealing bases, it's really tough to win a ball game, especially against a team that can swing it like LSU did, even though game 1 was a really close game. I mean, game 2 obviously wasn't being a 10-2 game, but game 1, as close it was literally just a single and a double in the 3rd and 5th. Difference between the game.
Yeah, that game 1, Heverson, I mean, I was able to sit down and really watch that game and watch the entirety of that game. And, Kyson Witherspoon didn't pitch bad, but I mentioned it on social media. Some nights their guy is just better than your guy.
Yeah.
And there was nobody beating Cade Anderson in game.
I mean, Chris, I know Oklahoma fans are thinking, when was the last time we won a Kyson Witherspoon start?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 3 in a row now. they've lost in those game ones. And to your point, if Oklahoma is going to have success the rest of the way out, we've got obviously 5 more SEC weekends ago, which it's crazy. We're about to hit the halfway point of conference play. But if they're going to have success, Harrison, I think it goes without saying, they got to snap that streak and they got to win when he's on the bump. I mean, he's their best guy. You really put yourself behind the 8 ball in a weekend when you're losing, when your best guy is on the bump. I mean, I know you're going to face the other team's best guy, but you got to find a way to help your dude out, get him some run support, and be able to scratch out a win on a Friday night, or in this case, a Thursday night. Harrison, before we move off of this one, because we're going to have a fun conversation here, obviously, in a second, there's going to be a debate. Who's the number 1 team in the SEC? Nobody's mentioning LSU. It very well could be them. I don't know about right now, but it very well could be them. All I'm saying. They got all the makings of it.
Yep.
So, and I know they were your pick to win the SEC. That's still very, very much in play. That being said, Harrison, let's go to the other Thursday through Saturday series. This one was wildly fascinating. Ole Miss and Kentucky. The Ole Miss Rebels take 2 of 3. Very, very scrappy. Very, very close. Shout out to our guy Lane Kiffin that threw us the retweet on Twitter when we mentioned that, this was maybe the most electric series that went under the radar. Lane Kiffin, big SECU baseball guy, big wind-up guy, as we all know. So shout out to Coach. Shout out to Coach. But this one got really chippy too, Harrison. Your thoughts? I don't have the full backstory, so if you do, would be appreciated. But they get the final out and that final game clinches the series, and they're mocking. You can tell that the Kentucky antics piss people off. Because this is not the first time, right? Auburn got in trouble for doing the rowing thing. Now we got Ole Miss doing the arms thing after they win. Is Kentucky really getting under people's skin that badly? It just wild to me. But bottom line is this. Ole Miss goes into what I think is a pretty difficult place to focus up, to play well, and to win. And they scratch out a really, really gritty series win they needed to have.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, you could say easily, I think, the most tight, throughout the entire series of any series this weekend, just because of the back and forthness. And, I mean, 2 of the 3 games go to extra innings. And, I mean, it was just, you had a walk-off in one of them to start it off the series. I mean, you have the chippiness as well. I think it's part of the style, which, like you said, Kentucky plays. And then, you're kind of just jawing at them, it's what do you kind of expect to happen? But you're at least doing it at home versus on the road. I will say that. But I mean, game 1, it was just, Kentucky got out to a 4-0 lead, and then you just get chipped away by Ole Miss. And I was really impressed though, because Hunter Elliott didn't have his best start. I mean, he gave up 4 runs, but Mason Morris came behind him and it felt like really slammed the door shut. 1 unearned run in 4 1/3 and 2 hits, but really felt like he slammed the door shut, controlled kind of the trajectory of the game. But Kentucky just kind of pieced together a short start from Nate Harris, and then the bullpen just one out until they got to Jackson Nova. And I mean, it was just a really strategically different style of baseball, especially from the series we just talked about with LSU and Oklahoma. But and I think this is kind of the style of games Kentucky wants to play and thrives in, and it just was able to get the knock at the end of the game in the 10th and win a huge game 1, which had momentum, especially at home. And then, game 2, I mean, it was close. It felt the entire time until Kentucky gave up 2 runs in the 9th. And that was after, Riley Maddox had a great start. 5 innings of unearned baseball. He had to give up 5 innings of 0 earned runs, 1 unearned, and just felt like the best that we've seen Riley Maddox when we talk about how inconsistent he's been. He's been great start, struggling like that. This is a situation when they needed a great start out of him. They got it. And then, Will McCausland comes in at the end and just throws 3 shutout innings, dominating the zone, Chris, just filling it up and expanding it, getting ahead of guys early, 5 Ks and 3. I mean, it was just, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good night, it felt like, right? And, that's on a Nick McKay start. Nick McKay's been one of the, top 10, I think, top 15 starters in the SEC. He's just a really kind of slept on name because he's not a high, 95, 98 kind of guy, it's just his devastating stuff like other big teams in the SEC, Liam Doyle, Kais Witherspoon, Cade Anderson. He's not like that kind of guy, but he gave him a really good start, even though it was only 4 innings. And then the bullpen piece together, just, you get a clutch hit in the 9th inning and you even the series up. And then just how chippy it felt like the whole thing was chippy, Chris. You knew someone was on edge. It felt like the entire time. And I was really surprised, in a good way, and impressed about how Ole Miss and Mike Bianco just kind of handled the bullpen. Just because it was, I think, 8 or 9 guys threw for Ole Miss. And you look at it compared to, LSU, they threw less than that in the entire series. But Ben Cleaver gives you a really good start from Kentucky, and then just you get the go-ahead run on the top 11th. Kentucky answers. You get a 2-run shot from Ole Miss in the 12th, and then Kentucky answers, but you're able to pin them down and hold them so that they don't score more runs and just pick up a huge series on the road.
Yeah, a highly intense series, no doubt. I'm sure I know a lot of Ole Miss folks obviously tuned in. You guys all watched, of course, but from a national perspective, not a lot of eyes on that one. Some other places, obviously, you were watching. Yeah, that was a fun series, man. Like you mentioned, everybody was on edge, it seemed. I think Kentucky's just one of those teams, Harrison. They're just maddening to play. Like they just frustrate you so badly that I imagine, and I don't know, again, I think there was some past stuff. I saw some people talking about maybe there was some stuff from, again, in the past before some stuff was said. I don't know, but they frustrate you to a point that when you can finally exhale and it's over and you've won the series, like I think there's this release of emotion. That's kind of what you saw. Again, really good series win.
I do. I like the competitive nature of these guys and letting the emotion flow a little bit.
Yeah, it's SEC baseball, man. It's intense. Everybody's fighting for their lives, especially, I think of Kentucky. They're going to be a team fighting for their postseason lives. Ole Miss is continue to fight. They want to host. So, yeah, that was just good old-fashioned SEC baseball to see Ole Miss outlasting the Cats in Lexington. Harrison, let's get into the Friday through Sunday series. And this is where the headliners really were. My friend, we must start in Knoxville, Tennessee. Buddy, this is not the conversation that I expected to be having, or that I think you expected to be having, or that anyone out there expected us to be having. It was business as usual, game one, right? It was what we expected. Tennessee run rules A&M, no hits them. No hit.
Their second no-hitter of the season.
Second no-hitter of the season. No hit, run rule them. We're thinking, again, like we said going in, A&M, they'll be lucky to win a game.
Harrison, you said coming into the series, that's a win if they win a game.
It's a win if they win a game. Harrison, what took place on Saturday is nearly beyond comprehension. Texas A&M puts belt to ass for 2 straight games. Does something to Tennessee's pitching staff that I don't even think we knew was possible. And this Aggie beast has awoken, at least for the time being. It awoke on Saturday, and my God, Texas A&M takes 2 or 3. I mean, Harrison, it's incomparable, but also it isn't, because it's like, this is the team we thought we were going to see all season long, and they finally showed up at Lindsey Nelson Stadium against the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, it was – I don't think anyone except for maybe some A&M fans that are still hopeful and faithful, and
I don't even know if they thought it was possible.
The Aggie clubhouse, knew that they had something to go and do this on the road, Chris, in the SEC, let alone the defending national champions that beat you in the finals, let alone the number 1 team in the country, let alone the hottest team in the country, let alone after getting no hit and shutout in game 1, Chris. I think part of it played, yes, it happened in game 1 first, but the fact it was a doubleheader. There's no time to reset or anything for Tennessee if needed, like they did. But just to come out.
Momentum is a fickle mistress, Harrison. Momentum is a fickle mistress.
Yeah, and I mean, in college baseball, anyone can be anyone. We talk about it all the time. I mean, but to come out and just play how they did, it felt like they played, and don't take this lightly, with their backs against the wall. They have nothing to lose and only everything to gain, but have all the pressure in the world on them to gain. And just like it felt like going in that this was like a David versus Goliath situation, even though the talent that Texas A&M has. But I mean, I think, the bats were there, but like we've seen that potential from them. We've seen the power in the lineup, just the talent those guys are, but the pitching staff, Chris. For Justin Lamkin and Weston Moss to go out there and throw 9 innings, give up 2 earned runs combined, and to shut down a lineup like that, I mean, that was, I think, one of the most impressive things to me. And the way that they got to Marcus Phillips, too. Honestly,
that was surprising.
I thought that it was impressive how they got to Marcus and Nate Snead too, but the way that they did, because they were just ambushing fastballs that were kind of up over the zone and just kind of less so for Marcus Phillips than others, but guys that were like leaving mistake pitches over the zone or like early curveballs or whatnot. And just, it felt like a different approach and confidence at the plate. And that was the biggest thing. I think that it was all Saturday. I mean, because it wasn't Friday, and then game 2, you have Miles Patton and Caden Wilson go combined for the game. You only use 2 pitchers against Tennessee. And you said Tennessee has not been touched up like this as a pitching staff before. I mean,
Harrison, they might still, but they led the country in ERA coming.
Yeah.
2.45, I think it was.
They used 6 pitchers in game 3, Chris. And Tegan Kuhn, who I think is extremely talented and going to be a big name in the SEC next year, the following year, he's been elite for a freshman this year. He got touched up as 2 innings, and then Braden Krenzel got pieced in his 1 inning. But it just felt like a hit parade, pass the baton to the next guy. And I think the pressure that they put on just barreling balls, like we talked about, I said LSU not this past week, but the week before, just felt like every inning they were barreling balls. And just, I think it was a lot of that this week, in barreling balls and hitting, and a lot of, I think it was, for the most part, it felt like everything was like a 1-1 count. They were just piecing, like squaring at the baseball. And I mean, Chris, I think the conversation does need to spark back up a little bit of maybe Lindsey Nelson's a bomb box.
Here we go.
I mean, Chris, the ball was flying out of the yard.
Here we go.
You saw the ones in left field, though, too. I'm not saying it is, but the conversation is going to be had that, like, a couple of them, Chris, were flying over the porch in left field. I mean, it was ridiculous how many home. I mean, even Hunter Hensley's was a piece, but we know the power he has. But like Wyatt Hensler, I mean, he had 2, and I mean, maybe the resurgence of having Caden Sorrell in your lineup, is that the biggest thing and the biggest reason why? Because he had 3 home runs on Saturday alone, the 2 games. I mean,
did you see his quote after the series?
What did it say?
He said, "This is the expectation." And I was like, all right.
I mean,
all right.
Hey, I mean, if that's all it took was getting, a bat like Caden Sorrell in the lineup and, getting some mojo passing the baton, because we know how talented they are. But like Barrett Harrison had a phenomenal series too. I think he was on base a lot. Ben Royo had 2 home runs in game 3. I mean, it felt like, let's go play with our hair on fire, nothing to lose and everything to gain. And let's go gain it, because we know we can play with these guys. We've done it before.
Harrison, this was, and I said it would be last week, and I'm going to echo that yet again. This was the upset of the college baseball season. There will not be a 100%. Bigger upset in my mind, based off of what had happened to this point.
As a series, this might be upset of, the modern college baseball era, the past 10 years.
Based off what had happened to this point and what we thought was going to happen, upset of the college baseball season. I will say this, because I've been very critical of Michael Early in Texas A&M. We've all been critical. Everybody has, deservedly so.
Some more than others.
I will say this. I am really, really happy for those guys. I'm happy for Michael Early. I'm happy for those guys on that roster and in that clubhouse, probably more than anything. Happy for the Aggie fan base. It was fun to watch them having fun. Like the putter in the dugout, the home run antics. It was fun. Like, I was like, you're watching and you're like, dude, good for them. Because nobody wants, and I know Tennessee fans won't love to hear this, but like, nobody wanted to continue to watch them just spiral out of control. Nobody wants to see them go, 6-24 in conference play. Like, I don't think any of us want to see that. It was fun to watch those pieces come together. And if nothing else, those guys have fun playing baseball again. Happy for Michael Early. Happy for the Aggies. Happy for all those guys I know that cover the Aggies, guys and girls that cover the Aggies. Happy for the Aggie fan base. It was fun to see. Now, I want to ask you this, Harrison. Is your bigger takeaway from the weekend Tennessee or A&M moving forward? Like, do you have concerns now with Tennessee, or do you more give credit to what A&M did? Or is it a mix of both?
I would say it's a mix of both, but I think it's more credit to A&M, because no one's going to go through the SEC gauntlet and just dominate everyone.
Everybody's going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get punched in the face.
We've never seen a team, I don't think, and we've looked through the record books briefly at, like, we obviously worse records talking about certain teams, but just no one's gone through, because it's such a long season. It's a gauntlet. There's no breaks. You're playing on the road, these incredible venues, these tough environments, let alone injuries and being, healthy entire season and guys stepping up, roles and whatnot. But I mean, I think it's more so just that the bitter, salty taste in your mouth as a Tennessee fan that it happened to A&M of all teams. Like, thinking, if this happened for us on the road at LSU, okay, they're a top 5 team. But to happen to a, spiraling leading into this Texas A&M team, it just is bitter tasting. It's just I don't say a gut punch, but maybe a reality check, if anything. And I mean, this could be the best thing for Tennessee baseball this season, Chris.
I'll say that right now. I'm glad you said that, Harrison, because as I was watching Saturday night, what was unfolding, and again, I was, in shock a bit. I will say I was thinking to myself, he may never admit it, and I wouldn't expect him to, but deep down, I'm like, I bet there's a part of Tony Vitello that loves this happened.
I'm not going that far, but Chris,
from the standpoint of like, you got your guys' attention. Like, hey, you're not all world everything. Like, this is your comeback to earth moment, and let's get to work. That's all I'm saying.
No, 100%. Like,
you don't want it to happen that way, but you get what I'm saying.
This could definitely be the best thing to happen for Tennessee baseball this season, as bitter and salty tasting as it is to hear, especially me to say that, versus a team like A&M with how they're spiraling. But I mean, this is kind of a reality check, and it's just like, maybe it's a hot, cold, hot theory for them, or just say, hey, like, we can't sleep on any team coming in or going on the road, no matter who it is, how much talent they are, how much they're struggling, how great they're playing. And we have to work on our craft and continue to hone our craft, play the game that we know how to play to the best of our abilities, and play our game. I think Tennessee got away from that a little bit. And I think A&M played to their potential and best game, and it took advantage of opportunities and mistakes. We saw mistakes. I mean, the ball thrown over at first base, 2 more runs. And what I loved, I think, about A&M the most in this series was just kind of, it felt like they played so loose and free. Like, it felt like a brand new season for them. But just, I think the aggressiveness that they played, as well as Tennessee, it felt like, they were sliding each other. They were about laying each other out at second on a stolen base, at third on a guy going from second to third. And then at home, Jay Slide runs over the catcher basically it made sense just with the ball up the line, but like, it felt like let's go. Like, this is it. Like, this is a turning point maybe. And crazy to think that it would happen at Tennessee, the number 1 team in the nation that's just so dominant by far. But like I said, with Tennessee, it could be a reality check that, propels them forward and just has them continue. No one's going to have their guys ready better than Tony Vitello, if not, one of the top 3 guys in all of college baseball to do that. And, I think he doesn't love it, but I think he's fine. He goes, all right, so what? Like, let's learn from him, let's respond. And I think that's something that Tennessee's going to do the rest of the season. I'm just excited to see what A&M does next weekend.
The bat flips, the putter in the dugout, the emotion,
energy.
I just loved seeing A&M get their swagger back. Like, it's kind of like that meme of that kid. I think I got my swagger back for a moment, at least for a day. That was A&M. I will say, Harrison, in closing, we live in a world of like hot takes, get the hot take out there. And so this is not going to do that. We could go hot take here, but I'm not really overreacting to either side, Harrison, if I'm being totally honest. Like, Tennessee played one bad day of baseball. They're going to fall out of number 1. They are. They're going to fall out of number 1 in the polls. They're going to fall out of number 1 in the power rankings. It is what it is. Cool. We all get that. My view of them doesn't really change. Like, yeah, this team's still a favorite to get to Omaha. They had one bad day of baseball. One.
Yeah, and now, Chris,
if I 2 games cost you, but one.
And if I call up Hunter Renz right now, he'd still say, we're still hunting.
No, for sure. Dude, again, it's one bad day of baseball. And then Texas A&M on the flip side, Harrison. Like, did they catch lightning in a bottle for one day? Or did they find something? I will put this bug in your ear, because remember, I went and said A&M's dead. Lost to Series Kentucky, dead. I'm not even backing off that take. I don't want to be right, but I'm not going to back off that take. Fun fact, Harrison, Texas A&M through 12 conference games has the same record that LSU team did last year when they went on a run, made the postseason. They didn't make the College World Series, but still, Chris, they went from 3-9 to the postseason. So
tell me what else who's in the season schedule was that year, though.
I know you're right. You're right. They had the front half gauntlet. That's the difference. A&M's got the back half. But I mean, dude, if you look at A&M, you got South Carolina coming to your place next week. And what if they sweep?
They need to have 2 at least.
Then what? I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Then you play LSU, Arkansas, and Georgia.
I know. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Austin.
But it is just, I mean, unreal what took place. Again, Texas A&M taking 2 or 3.
Hey, I'll give you another little meme for you. Just that, maybe A&M fans, maybe the guys in the clubhouse locker room are saying, we're back.
Maybe a little early on that one. Speaking of somebody feeling like they're back, saying we're back, who said we're back and what school he came from? Harrison, do you hear that? Listen. Notice how quiet it is.
Yeah, where'd they all go? Where'd they? I can't find them.
Not a whole lot of barking in the comments these days.
My mentions are quiet.
Not a whole lot of chatter from the red and black because Texas swept that ass at DKR. Not at DKR. At Dish Falk. DKR's football. At Dish Falk. Swept them. Made me look like a fool on a public platform, by the way. I got freezing cold takes getting tagged. I got players, family members DMing me, calling me an idiot because I said, ain't no pitching staff. How dare I? How dare I, within a 2 or 3 week span, call Max Weiner the best pitching coach, best assistant in the country, and then go, ain't no pitching staff going to slow down Georgia's lineup? What did they do? They shoved it up their ass all weekend. And Texas gets the sweep. And they get the walk-off fashion sweep in the final game. Harrison, I mean, your thoughts? Jared Spencer was fantastic in game 1. They were fantastic on the bump all weekend. They did it without Max Ballou in the lineup. And now we got to have the conversation, Harrison. Is Texas the best team in college baseball? Not just the SEC. Are they the best team in college baseball right now?
I'm going to start with your question and I'm going to answer your question coming to the series of, can any team stop this Georgia lineup? And I said, when everyone zigs, this is an opportunity to zag. And I said, Max Weiner is the best pitching coach in college baseball, especially with what he's done in a year and getting the most out of the guys that every guy that he's worked with since he's been, it feels like, with the Mariners. I mean, he has the accolades for a reason, and just the quickness of elite potential and execution from guys and their stuff in arsenal. Even freshmen like Dylan Valantis, who I think is one of the most important bullpen pieces in the SEC, Chris. Mm-hmm. I said it's gonna come down to probably, like Max Grubbs and Dylan Valantis shutting down Georgia's lineup. And it very much did so. I mean, Jared Spencer set the tone, double-digit strikeouts. Charlie Goldstein, I thought, was really good, better than a stat line. Obviously, they both had a no-hitter going into the 4th. Jared Spencer had a perfect game going to the bottom of the 4th, when then Charlie Goldstein, after the announcer said it, and then I tweeted it. So I didn't break it, Chris. Don't worry, I didn't break it. 20 seconds later, gets a base hit to end the no-hitter for Georgia. But, I mean, I said, Chris, going out west and playing on the road in the SEC is tough. Like a venue, especially, at Texas with the standards of which they have as a blue blood in college baseball, and just feeling like they're back. Like a blue blood being back, that's just like foaming out of the mouth for them, I think. And, it comes down to the pitching staff. We talk a lot of times how pitching travels. I think pitching can solidify things at home too. I really do. And it starts with, when you have elite guys like Jared Spencer, Luke Harris on the mound. I mean, he doesn't give you a quality start. He still feels dominant. And, he gets hit around a little bit, but he's just 9 Ks, 1 walk. And then you have stoppers that are not just guys that can step up, but stoppers. Every single appearance, it feels like. And Max Grubbs going multiple innings every time, slamming the door shut, not giving guys free passes, and not getting hit up, not getting barreled, right? And then you have a freshman, Dylan Valantis, coming in after Ruggiero has a really good start, I think, again. And ain't nobody touching Dylan Valantis, Chris. As a freshman in SEC, anybody touching Dylan Valantis' stuff. I'll say it right now. I think he's going to be SEC Pitcher of the Year. SEC Freshman Pitcher of the Year. I mean, I've been high on him, I think, since week 2, if anything, if not week 1. And to come out of the bullpen and go the final 4 innings, one hit, 8 Ks, Chris, no walk, 1 walk, no runs, and absolutely silence a scorching loud offensive lineup in Georgia's lineup. That's just, I don't want to say it felt like night and day, but it felt like, I'm not gonna say it did, but it felt like those powers didn't travel, Chris. They didn't take the secret sauce with them. Maybe they didn't use torpedo bats. I don't know what it was, but Hey, I did say, Chris, what happens when you're going to go play at a bigger pitcher-friendly ballpark? The trees in Foley are full. The fences are not that far, like Dish Falks are.
And that's, to your point, Harrison, that's kind of a side note that we, like, SEC baseball fans, here's a message from SEC Unfiltered to you all. Stop taking offense if somebody says you play in a hitter-friendly ballpark or a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Newsflash, Lindsey Nelson and Foley Field, they are hitter-friendly ballparks. It does not mean that your home runs are cheapies or you don't deserve them.
I will say a lot
But
of
when
them,
you go to
Lindsey Nelson
Texas,
were not cheapies.
I'm just saying when you go to Dish Falk, like you said, that's a pitcher-friendly ballpark.
Especially with the wind.
You might have to win games in different ways. The way you win may not travel, and you're going up against a good staff. What happened to Georgia's offense, I think, can happen. I didn't expect it, though. What's wild about it, Harrison, it's not like Georgia even pitched bad. They just got out-dueled.
I thought Brylan Curley looked pretty good overall. I know he went 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned, 9 Ks, 3 walks, but
that's all you ask out of him. I think that's all you ask.
No, if you get that out of him, you're like, hey, thank you. Shake his hand. It's bullpen, step it up. Let's go. Keep it going. Keep it rolling. I mean, because that against a Texas lineup that's not going to just mash the ball 1 through 9 like Georgia's does. But when I said it going into the series, Georgia's just a home run machine, and that's how they're going to beat you. Texas is a doubles and home run style of club that they don't need to have the home run ball to beat you, but they have it there, right? You have Jalen Flores and Ryan Galvan, who I'm glad he's back and healthy and playing. You have just guys stepping up. I mean, you have Stewart hitting a home run too.
Dude, Gasparino stays red hot.
Guys, Gasparino including had a double in game 2. I mean, it's different guys stepping up at different times. And you got Gasparino, he had a big weekend, I think. And I think it was really needed, especially someone, if not 2 people, had to step up in place of Max Blue being out. And Gasparino, I think Kimber Schussler, as well as Casey Borba, all stepped up and kind of fulfilled that role when needed. And, Ryan Galvan being healthy was great and a huge, huge benefit for them too. But to shut out, I mean, Rylan Zembrowski, it felt like most of the series, I mean, he goes 0 for 4, 1 for 3, and then he goes 1 for 3. I mean, I know they're deeper than that, but that's the nucleus of their offense. And to do that, I mean, sends a message, because I said that Georgia was overrated going into the Florida series. They proved me wrong. And, I did pick them to beat Auburn and Kentucky. I'm going to admit that again, right? I picked them to beat those 2. But this is by far the best pitching staff they face. And looking at Florida's staff now, maybe that wasn't a good pitching staff as much as we thought it was preseason early on. This is by far the best pitching staff they've seen. Game 1 through game 3.
I won't go as far, and I'm not saying this is what you're doing, but I won't go as far as say I'm jumping back on the Georgia is overrated train.
No, but I'm saying that when you have an elite pitching staff like Texas does, starters and bullpens.
Contrary to the point that I tried to make going into the weekend, in fact, great pitching does still beat great hitting.
Yes, that's basically what I'm saying.
So I was wrong. Texas fans, hey, right hand up. I was very wrong.
Hey, Chris.
And I mean, I'm all good with it. I mean, I'm happy for you. I mean,
I guess I won't be seeing you in the Yeti Yard when we go to Austin.
Oh, I'm going to be there.
Are you still getting the invite after twice now, Chris? Not once, but twice.
They love me because I can own it. So every time I've picked against Texas and Texas won, I've owned it. So I think they'll look past
this rate,
but
Chris, at this rate, occupied left field and the boys at Dish Falk might be asking you to pick against them again and having me continue to pick them.
They might do that.
I mean, Georgia told me to stay on that side.
Dude.
I don't hear any chatter, Chris. My mentions are quiet.
The timeline's quiet. And we got nothing but love for the dogs, but you got to give it a little bit back because, my God, we got eaten alive for a few weeks. Maybe I got bullied into picking Georgia. I got some of my buddies out there that
peer pressure is a wild thing.
Texting me all the time, look at that church league softball team. Look at that lineup. Every midweek game, I'm like, man, maybe I really was disrespecting Georgia. Turns out I was disrespecting the wrong guy.
All those Georgia burners that came out of the folly trees. Looks like they went back this weekend.
At
least for the weekend, Chris. At least for 1 week.
Back to the greenhouse.
Well, that's no disrespect to Georgia and their lineup. Was just Texas got the best of them.
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to be fine. I just think they ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, they ran into what you could argue is the best team in the country. On that note, Harrison, again, we're going to talk about the other team that you debate this with is Arkansas. That's the big 1-2. Who's going to be
one? Chris, the whole Texas, the way Georgia did, their pitching staff did. I mean, 4, 5, and 7 runs. that's not like you should expect Georgia to win one of those games.
Yeah, to go there and not even win one is got to be the really, really disappointing part for Dog fans. I'll ask you this, Harrison. We're going to get into it a little bit. We're going to fly through it, though, because Arkansas, took care of the business, swept Mizzou. It was a blowout all 3 games. Offense stays hot. But I'm going to ask you, Harrison. You and I both dropped power rankings, but just right now, Texas or Arkansas, who's number 1 in the conference?
Power rankings, Arkansas. I just don't think Texas jumps them yet, but I think it's like a really close, like 1A, 1C.
Okay, let me.
But I say that because Texas has played better competition and beat them both.
Let me reframe it.
Okay. But it's just the jump right now is tough for me.
Power rankings, Arkansas. Who do you think is the better baseball team? Because those are 2 different questions.
I think right now I'd have to see them play head to head because I think it's a tie.
And they will play head to head in a few weeks. Which
I know
it
just depends on what kind of starts you get from Arkansas's pitching staff, and then who steps up for Texas in the game.
I think power rankings, as I've wrestled with this, Harrison, and my official power rankings.
I need to drop mine. I haven't done that yet.
Tuesday, so I've got some time still. I could change my mind, but
same.
I'm probably going to go the Hogs as well, just because they were 2, and it just, I don't know, man. Like having Texas jump all the way up and jump them when it's like all Arkansas has done is win. But then again, Texas has beaten 2 top 10 teams at
top
home.
5.
Top 5, and they just swept.
Or top 10, you're right.
And they just swept one of them. So
they have both.
There is the debate to be had, no doubt. But God, I can't wait for that Arkansas-Texas series. That is just going to be pure cinema down the road in a few weeks.
Hey, college baseball, the people's sport.
Cannot wait. Harrison, let's go down to the Plains. Hey, I'll take credit for this. I was the only one to go War Damn Eagle. And War Damn Eagle did just that. They take 2 of 3 from the Alabama Crimson Tide. The tone was set in this one too, Harrison, for game 1. They roughed up Zane Adams, buddy. He didn't stand a chance against that lineup, and it was more than just Ike Irish, Cooper McMurray. Those are the big names, obviously. Your thoughts on this one, man? Butch Thompson's club, really, really impressive. They win the rubber match game to clinch the series. Alabama, all of a sudden, coming off a losing weekend against the rival, they'll have a big opportunity for a bounce back next weekend against Mississippi, or this weekend, I should say, against Mississippi State. But thoughts on Auburn, man? This was a big, big series win for them. They're kind of right there fighting in that hosting conversation, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it was a huge series winner for them in general in the SEC, but let alone to do over your rival and to protect the home field. I think that was a huge, huge momentum boost for them this season. Not that they haven't been playing well or had one, but just like even more so because it's a very, talented top 20, top 10, I guess, top 15-ish, depending on which rankings you look at, Alabama team. But I think it was all, predicated on, talk about Cade Anderson's complete game shutout. Samuel Dutton went complete game shutout as well. They run him 10-0. He went the same length, 2 hits, 6 Ks, no runs, 2 walks. I think I was most impressed with that, more so than Zane Adams struggling and getting touched up for 6 earned, 8 hits in 1 inning, because Auburn's offense has proved they can hit. It's just a little streaky for me. I thought that I went with Alabama. I think just even though it was on the road, in-state rivalry, everything, I thought just the hitting would have been a little more consistent from what I've seen from Alabama than Auburn. Not that they couldn't, but I knew it was going to be a rubber match, but just the way that I think they kind of went about it and just kind of not leaving guys in too long. They didn't leave Cade Fisher in too long. They didn't leave Cam Tilley in too long. They didn't, like Carson Myers, able to finish it out and not give up too much. And then just timely hitting. But it felt like for me that Auburn's offense didn't miss any elevated fastballs. They didn't miss pitches over the zones early in counts or even in counts. And it's just, they were barreling everything. Like it felt like they were just ambushing pitches early in the counts and in plus counts that, they made the most of. Obviously Justin LeBron, doing his thing and just Justin LeBroning on the field all over. It felt like, he had a wickedly underrated, I think, swipe pick tag at second as he was running off the field to get the guy stealing in the inning. It was insane. But it was a really, I think, scrappy series. I think it was really fun to watch. I know it got overshadowed as well versus some other series, that we've just talked about. But I don't want to say it's a down on Alabama because you're going on the road to play a rival, but more of a boost for Auburn. But I think you learn more about both teams in different aspects. Just that Auburn, their pitching and timeliness of hitting the hitting, I think, has proven to be able, to hit at a higher level than, not that they haven't been hitting on a higher level, but just they've been able to hit against, other good teams, like as a whole, not like elite pitching staffs, because I don't think Alabama's is, but I mean, I think they were more balanced throughout the lineup this weekend than we've seen other weekends. And then Alabama, I think, struggling pitching on the road and just not be able to, stop the bleeding was the biggest thing for me and biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I was going to see the intensity in this series too, Harrison. Our guy Dave Shoemate went to game 1 down there at Plains and Park. He talked about the crowd and the energy and the emotion, and I think they actually, if I recall correctly, I think they set an attendance record.
They did game 1. It was I think 67 and change, 6,700 and change.
Yeah, awesome. See, grow the game.
And also, I mean, I kind of expected that. Game 1 against your rival, and you just have the renovations. You have the seats above the Green Monster too. So
looked like a beautiful night too. Beautiful night for baseball. So huge series win, like you mentioned, Harrison, for the Auburn Tigers. Auburn, I think, just sneaky yet again, man. It's another Butch Thompson.
I'm just really worried for Auburn though, Chris, is their pitching depth on the Saturday and Sunday rolls. Like some roll guys, but more so starters, because I don't think going deep into postseason, they don't have a Tegan Kuntz style guy that they can throw on a Sunday. They don't have a Ruger Riojas they can throw on a Sunday. They don't have a Chase Shores, and like I just the length that they don't get out of a Saturday starter like in Cade Fisher. I don't think he's gone more than 4 innings, but once he's gone, I think just over 4 once, but he's usually a 3 inning guy. It's just in a postseason, it's gonna be tough to go deep with.
Yeah.
Same problem though with Alabama.
Yeah, pitching depth or lack thereof. I mean, these are two. I mean, we talked about Harrison.
Preseason, we said how similar teams they were.
How similar some of their weaknesses and strengths, and I think both face a similar issue from that standpoint. But again, Auburn outlasting Bama at home. Huge series win for them to stay in that SEC hunt right there in the middle of the pack. Harrison, let's go to Gainesville, Florida. The Vanderbilt Commodores sweep the Florida Gators. Harrison, I made an early call last year when I said that Florida was a bad baseball team. They were donezo. They were cooked. Sure enough, they squeak in the postseason. They make it all the way to Omaha. Sitting at 1-11 in conference play, Harrison, this team is dead. This team is done.
Are you putting a fork in them?
I'm putting a fork in Florida. As much as I obviously hate to say that, for very obvious reasons, because we went down to Gainesville. They showed us a ton of love. Got nothing but love for those guys. I don't know that they'd come out publicly and say this, Harrison, but I think if they were honest, I just think some years, it's not all, but some years, you just have a bad crop of dudes. Like, you have a bad crop of guys. They've dealt with injuries. Yes, I get it. But, like, they're not so banged up where this should be the result. Harrison, they've been swept in multiple series at home for the first time since 2004. This is their worst start to SEC play since Kevin O'Sullivan got there. And they're probably going to miss the postseason for the very first time in his tenure. I mean, yeah, I'm sticking a fork in Florida right now. I think they're dead. Give Vandy credit, by the way. I mean, give Vandy credit bouncing back from getting swept to go on the road and to sweep. I thought was wildly impressive what the Vandy boys did. But, like, I give them credit, yes, but at the same time, Harrison, I'm starting to kind of buy into I also just don't think Florida's a very good baseball team. I just at this point, man, the record is you are what your record says you are, to a degree. 1-11 in SEC play. They're one of the worst teams in the conference. I think they're done.
What's crazy, Chris, is that Florida all time is 148 and 85 and 1, including 84 and 27 at home.
In SEC play?
No, versus Vanderbilt.
Versus Vanderbilt, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I think Kevin Sullivan summed it up best with, talking after game 3 about the outcome. It's just like, it's really hard to watch. And he said we didn't deliver. We swung at pitches out the zone. We're late on fast. We're chasing breaking balls, but it was not good. It was not good at all. I mean, I think it's just, like you said, it's really hard to watch because they have a lot. It's
weird, Harrison, too, like how bad they are fundamentally. Like
they have a lot of talent.
They get a base knock that drives in an RBI, but then they're getting thrown out at third inexplicably. Like they're making the third out at third. like just horrific base running. Like something as small as that, but also as pivotal as that. When you're trying to win an SEC series, like Florida just does all the dumb things you cannot do and win baseball games in this conference.
Yeah, and then they don't hit with runners in scoring position, and then they just get hit around the mound because they're leaving balls up over the zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's baffling to see, really, truly.
But I think we do, like you said, need to give props to Vanderbilt and just going down on the road in Gainesville and pitching the way they did, I think, throughout the entire weekend. J.D. Thompson, I think he has a shorter start. I mean, he threw 95 pitches, though, but went 4 2/3, 4 hits, no earned. I mean, he only had 2 strikeouts, too. Just letting his defense work for him. He didn't have the dominant stuff of getting, putting guys away with 2 strikes. And Cody Blocker obviously goes game 2. And what I thought was really interesting, I mean, he had a great start, too, but you have your probable game 3 starter in Connor Fennell. Instead of game 3, you have him come out of the bullpen for the save, Chris. That's Tim Corbin going, I want to win this series right now. I'm not going to let it go to chance. I'm bringing out the arm that I know has been hot and been producing for us and just delivering. And that's Connor Fennell. And, I think he would have started game 3 if they didn't use him there. But he comes out 2 punchies in an inning. Punchy for shout out Micah Butel, our guy. That's 2 sips right there. But to go do that and come out like as a role for him, I mean, he's a sophomore, Dayton transfer, to do that and a versatile role now after starting 2 past weekends and coming out of the bullpen, just that kind of bulldog mindset and getting the series win in game 2. I mean, Tim Corbin, they're not messing around. I mean, you have Brendan Seaburn kind of bullpen the rest of it after that in game 3, and Connor Fennell comes out in game 3 again and pitches. So, I mean, I was impressed by that, and just I liked how they handled it with that, but it's just kind of an avalanche going downhill for Florida, and you really can't stop a stone ball going down a hill.
Yeah, and again, give all the props to Vandy again after getting
swept on the road,
then sweeping on the road Florida, which Harrison, it goes with the theme. Like we said, it's wild how many sweeps we're seeing. I feel like we're seeing an abnormal amount of sweeps. It's like every weekend we're talking about at least 2 or 3 or 4 that end up in a sweep, right? Yeah, I mean, and I think it just goes to momentum. Like momentum in this league is just, God, positive momentum will uplift you and carry you, and it's like everything's going right. And obviously, negative momentum, and it'll just beat you down into oblivion, and it'll beat you into the fetal position and make you beg for forgiveness. And I mean, that's the case with Florida. And what I worry about, Harrison, because you're sitting at 1-11, are these guys going to continue to be bought in? That's what I'm nervous about when it comes to the Gators. Like, are they going to quit? I mean, really, truly. Dude, and we keep saying this weekend after weekend, so maybe it's silly. But, I mean, Harrison, Florida, who do they got next? Mizzou on their home field. There might be 50 people in the stands for that series. No joke. I mean, I think the Florida fan base.
It's a family ballpark.
Well, right. The family will be there. That's about all who will be there. But, I mean, something's got to give. Somebody's got to win a series, right? Is it Mizzou who's defeated or the 1-11 Florida Gators? Somebody has to win an SEC series, Harrison.
Hey, we'll find out. But you know who did win an SEC series, Chris? My pick in this year's bottom barrel race.
Yes, moving into that one, we'll go to Starkville, Mississippi. Mississippi State, hey, after losing the first game.
Yeah,
at home, Saturday, Sunday, and after that game 1, Harrison, I went to social media. Not many nice things being said about Chris Lemonis. Hell of a job to bounce back, take the series. You had to have it. We knew the loser of this series was going to be behind the 8 ball, going to be down bad in terms of trying to make a postseason run. Mississippi State, for now, Harrison, still alive. They're taking 2 out of 3 against South Carolina.
Yeah, I think just after dropping game 1 against, a very much so struggling South Carolina team that doesn't, I don't think, have a full identity. Like I'd say the rest of, 2/3 of the SEC has, at least, at home in front of the best fans, some of the best fans in college baseball, at the best venue in college baseball. And kind of the way they did, it felt like they just kind of were handled. I mean, you put up 3 in the bottom of the first, but then you go 0s across the board the rest of the way. And, to stick a knife in it at the end, you give up 2 more runs to South Carolina. I mean, it's just tough the way that it did. And it wasn't just – there was 1 home run there from Hollins in the middle of the game. But other than that, it was just reaching on fielder's choice, it scored a run. Throwing error, it scored a run. Just singles. That really just scored runs for, both teams, more so South Carolina, but just, it was tough to see. And, it was not something that we expected to see Pico Khan struggle against, this South Carolina lineup that he's been so dominant against, feels like the last 4 or 5 outings. I think that was a big thing that, no one was really expecting. But, Ben Davis goes after him and he gets touched up too. Only give it 2 earned, but it was just the lack of, offensive firepower that South Carolina has to lose that game with your ace that's been so consistently pitching at a high level was surprising to me. He had a couple of walks. He had 3 walks in his 5 innings, but just the way that it kind of happened and then to respond in game 2 the way they did, I was really happy with, especially, after getting another rough start from Evan Sierra. He gives it 4 in just over 4 innings. And then Chase Hungate comes in and slams the door, Chris. I think that was the turning point for the series for them because, yes, they're up 6-1 in the 3rd, but, you get 3 runs in the 5th, and you're like, well, crap, we already lost game 1. We can't afford to lose this game. And for Hungate to come in and 4 2/3, no hit the rest of the game, I think that was a huge turning point momentum for the Bulldogs to, win game 2 and then obviously to go into game 3 and win that way. And then
shove in game 3.
Yeah. But then you have guys in the lineup that are, producing. We talk about how hot a hitter Ace Reese is in the lineup, but, to do to play the way Noah Sullivan too, he's been playing phenomenal baseball as well. And then you have Joe Powell in the bottom of the lineup give you production at the 7-8 hole, I think, and just, give him, props for that because that just turns on the lineup and adds depth to a lineup. That way, you get guys back up, your best hitters, your 1, 2, 3 hitters back up in the box for another at bat faster, right? But you said game 3, shove it. Carson Ligon and Stone Simmons, they 2-hit him. No runs.
And Ligon came in, he had an ERA over 7.
Yeah.
And just, I think South Carolina went 6 or 7 innings without a hit after they had a leadoff single in the game, and that was their only hit until late in the game. So
yeah, you 2-hit them, Chris. But let alone the 5 spot they put in the 4th. On just home run, it was just everything. It was a home run. It was an RBI. It was a home run, an RBI. It was a single, moving guys over, another single. Guys, just coming up next guy up, did statement outings for both of them. I think 13 strikeouts on a Sunday from 2. That's even saying that, I think Matthew worked 2/3, 7 Ks, no walks. He got 1 run. You got to do that on the road, obviously, but game that which, feels like usually in the SEC on deck, we need. Those 2 guys stepped up, and you get the production of Dylan Cup at a RBI in the 9 hole. Exactly what
Harrison,
what they needed, to continue their season, hopefully make the postseason, dude.
Harrison, we've got the robot voice back. We've got the robot voice back. I'm just happy it's not me. No, we've still got the robot voice back. I'm just happy it's not me. Typically, it's me. We almost made it through an entire show.
We're back. It's better.
Almost made it through an entire show without a technical issue.
Chris, okay. I'm gonna blame the hotel Wi-Fi on this.
Yeah, I get it. You got so passionately into that Mississippi State banter, you knocked the microphone.
Did the message get across though?
Yes, the message got it. No, the message got across. Yes,
Mississippi State. You just the pedigree of which that school is now in baseball, how much of a priority it is. You can't lose that series of all at home at this point in the season.
Yeah.
Inexcusable, I think.
You had to have it. You had to have it for your postseason hopes. You had to have it for momentum. Mississippi State now, you've got some real hope and excitement going into this series at Alabama. Bama coming off this series loss. South Carolina, you travel to A&M. What a time to catch A&M, by the way. What a time. So that'll be interesting. But, no, huge one for the Dogs. Had to have it. Big time series win for Lamonis and the boys, and I mean big for Lamonis, man, to keep the temperature on the seat at least manageable. Finally, Harrison, let's talk just for a moment. This series in Fayetteville, Arkansas sweeps Mizzou. If we want to summarize the series in one way, Harrison, I'll do so like this: ting, 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 ting. That's Arkansas's bats. Ting, ting. It was just, I mean, the epitome of belt to ass, Harrison. It was a lot of runs for the Hogs, not many for Mizzou. I mean, in a series that was impacted by rain, by the way, impacted by weather. Whew. You talk about them bats staying hot, buddy. I mean, it was double-digit runs scored for Arkansas every game, and I mean, Mizzou just, they had no answer.
You run rule them in all 3 games, Chris.
You run rule them in all. That's crazy. I wonder when the last time that happened in an SEC series where a team got run ruled in all 3 games. That can't be an every year thing. Is it? Maybe it is, and I'm just, but like that feels absurd.
I can't remember the last time I've seen that.
That feels absurd. So,
but I mean, obviously, I think like you knew that was going to happen. You're going to swing it against Missouri, but I think you wanted to see, still your starters have quality outings, and then guys in the bullpen that don't get to pitch as much step up in certain opportunities to give them chances to prove themselves, but also, take some innings off of your high leverage guys. Like when I was hoping for a better start from Gabe, in game 2, but I mean, I think it was okay. I mean, he's probably not happy with it. I know they're probably not, loving that, but like, I just, that's the most frustrating part, is just not having more dominant outings as starters for Arkansas with how good their stuff is, Chris, against a just very much so inferior opponent in Missouri, even at home. I mean, it's not like you're playing in Como. Not that it's not that Phi Delta Theta Stadium is a tough place to play, but just like on the road in the SEC. I mean, I don't know, but like, I mean, Landon Beoche's had a good start, and you have guys, everyone goes 1-1-1 after him. Like Cole Gibbler, I think I was glad to see him pitch and him go, clean inning with 2 Ks. I mean, I think it was a more opportunity to get guys, more innings. I thought they were going to do that more so, especially, when you run rule, put double digits up against them, but to each their own. Dave Van Horn's, a vet at this, so he knows better than I do. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a dominant weekend across the board. Again, what you expect for Arkansas. And again, the debate, Harrison, will rage on. Arkansas or Texas. Who will be number 1 in the polls? Who should be number 1 in the power rankings? Who will be number 1 in our power rankings? You'll have to wait to see.
Find out soon.
It's going to be a fun debate. So, anyways, weekend number 4 in the SEC, officially in the books. What a weekend it was. We're coming up on weekend number 5. Harrison, on Thursday, we'll talk that one, the halfway point of conference play. Telling you, folks, buckle in, brace yourselves, because it's just flying by. Before you know it, we always say it. We'll be in Hoover. We'll be in Omaha. We'll be in the postseason. Embrace each and every single one of these weekends. Guys, we're going to talk the midweek really quickly before we get out of here. Before we do that, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. This bracket season, FanDuel's letting you make the call, because right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots, last-second heartbreaks, and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time. There's tourney action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. Guys, listen, if you faded me the other night, you lost money. I had Gators -2. Gators are in the title. I'm on the Gators big again tonight to beat Houston and hoist the trophy. Hey, you can tail me. You could fade me. Same thing with Dave Shoemate. Same thing with all of us here at SEC Unfiltered. Whatever you do, just make sure you visit FanDuel.com/SECU and get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 and up and present in select states, or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets. Expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Harrison, on the gambling note, basketball season coming to an end tonight. We might have to get you involved in some college baseball gambling. Who knows? Maybe we got to do that.
Hey, the pick'em's hot in the pick'em right now.
Who knows? Hey, It's a different world when you're betting spreads, Harrison. Let me tell you, firsthand experience, buddy. All right, let's talk some midweek.
Hey, Vegas knows.
Vegas. Hey, you can get them in college baseball, though, I will say. Harrison, at least you think you can until you start playing. Let's talk Tuesday, Wednesday. We got one game on Wednesday, but a loaded slate on Tuesday. Harrison, hashtag Midweeks Matter, of course.
Midweeks Matter.
Let's see. Some of the games standing. How about, oh, man. The one that jumps off the page. The Auburn Tigers travel to Russ Chandler Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, to take on the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech.
Do we get to talk Georgia Tech baseball in here?
Take it away. You know way more than I do about Georgia. I know they're coming off a sweep of Stanford, I believe.
Another sweep, you mean?
Another sweep. Yeah, Georgia Tech is playing really, really good baseball. So
dare I say Georgia Tech's playing some of the best baseball in the ACC? I mean,
that's a shame you won't. It's a shame you won't be on the call for that one. Really, truly.
I would be. I would like to admit I would probably be on the call if I was not at the Masters right now for it.
Well,
I'd like to think so. I was.
Hey, that's a hell of a matchup, though. Auburn, Georgia Tech.
I was planning to be on the call, Chris, all 3 games next weekend, but things happen. But I mean, Georgia Tech, they're off to their best road start, let alone season. Overall record, they're 26-6 since 2010. It's their best overall, record to start the season. Best ACC record, Chris, since 2011 as well, at 11-4. Best road start in program history, Chris. 2 sweeps now on the road, and they're 10-1. First back-to-back road ACC sweeps since 2004. I mean, I think they're the hottest team in the ACC. Easy to say, and just they're so deep and so talented up and on the lineup with a top 3 transfer class, some great veterans, and some very talented freshmen who have been stepping up to an enormous level. I mean, Caleb Daniel, Alex Hernandez, the list goes on, but you have Kyle Lodis, who's one of the hottest hitters in the country. Oh, wait, did I not mention one of the best hitters in college baseball? Drew Burris. I mean, it's so much talent in the Georgia Tech roster, and, Danny Hall's final season. I mean, maybe it just means more this year for Georgia Tech. But, I mean, they got studs in the mound, Chris.
The Danny Hall retirement tour is going very well to this point.
I mean, it's called a farewell tour. Well, hopefully that farewell tour, is saying farewell in Omaha. I mean, but I think the biggest thing is just like the bullpen for them. I mean, just how good their bullpen has been under Matt Taylor, Georgia Tech's pitching coach, and just what he's been able to do in such a quick time. I mean, talk about how great of a pitching coach Max Wiener is. I mean, Matt Taylor has been able to flip this pitching staff around to, one of its best starts in, over a decade at least. But you have Mason Patel is one of the best starters in, I think, ACC. I mean, he's got a save. He's got 38 innings. He's got 8-1 record. He's got a 1.42 ERA. But you have guys in bullpen like Jalen Payton, and then you got studs on the mound around him. Cody Spivey's got one of the highest spin rate curveballs probably. I think he had in the draft class. It was the highest one. You got, Cole Royer was the one that had that. I mean, Caden Spivey, got super talented guys there with just great high spin stuff. I mean, it's going to be a really good, fun game to watch. And interesting to see how Auburn comes off of this series win, this monumental series win against your rival at home. And just going on the road to playing, an incredibly tough midweek. I'm excited for it. I wish I was on the call for it. I wish I was there, but it's got to miss this one, Chris. But I'm planning to be there later in the season when Georgia Tech travels down to Plainsman. I will be boots on the ground for that. I'll make that one happen. But I'm excited for that. But other than that, Chris, I mean, around the midweeks that stand out.
This is actually, I was about to say, this is an electric midweek slate.
Electric.
We got Kentucky going.
Maybe your favorite game.
Hey,
Chris.
we got a lot of SEC on ACC.
Yeah,
there's a lot of shit talk on the line. Kentucky's going to Louisville.
Tough game.
God, poor Florida, bro.
Hey, this is your favorite one.
Florida State coming to Gainesville. Hey, there's a lot on the line. Don't mess it up, boys. We got a lot of we got a just means less ACC account I got to troll. All right. Anyways, Oklahoma, Dallas Baptist, another good one. Ole Miss going to Memphis to FedEx Park. Arkansas State. How about Texas A&M going to Huntsville, Texas to take on Sam Houston, who's not very good.
How about Missouri going to SIU? That should
Edwardsville, Illinois.
That game should be played at Philadelphia Stadium.
Dude, how about Fennell's old team, Dayton, coming to town?
Yeah, definitely. I think, Chris, probably the most interesting one and most locked on for me, other than Auburn, Georgia Tech, and rightfully so. Dallas Baptist, Oklahoma.
That's another really good one.
Home sweep.
Yeah.
At the hands of LSU for Oklahoma, just a scorching hot, I think,
And
very talented Dallas
DBU,
Baptist.
Didn't they run rule Oklahoma earlier in the season?
I believe.
Wasn't it a red? It was a blowout either way.
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure it was a run rule. Yeah, there's some wildly interesting midweek games. LSU going to Nichols. They're traveling to Thibodeau.
Hey, what happened last time they played Nichols? Was it last year?
Well, I mean, this year they killed them, but last year,
last year.
Yeah, last year they lost. Bama hosting Southern Miss. We know well about the Golden Eagles at this point.
It was 11-0, Chris, DBU over Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, hey, revenge on the mind. Mississippi State travels to UAB. We got a lot of really interesting midweek games. But yeah, that Oklahoma-Dallas Baptist game, your OU especially, you need to bounce back.
I think they definitely need to win that. But, I mean, I think – not even a biasness. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Not even a biasness. I do think Auburn, Georgia Tech is going to be one of the most electric midweek games because of both teams are trending so far up right now and you just want to continue that momentum. And this is a postseason game you're basically playing. There's several of them, obviously Dallas Baptist and Oklahoma and Kentucky, Louisville too. I think it's going to be a really sleeper game, but like too close to home teams that kids probably got recruited by both these schools. Same with Oklahoma, or same with maybe Oklahoma, Dallas Baptist and Kentucky, Louisville as well. But I mean, it's going to be maybe this is. We keep saying how good these midweeks are. I feel like they just don't stop all season long.
Yeah, no, this is an electric midweek slate. Like I said, SEC.
Let's take it. Doesn't stop on Tuesday. We get a Wednesday. Alcorn State.
We do get a Wednesday. Let's not sleep on that Wednesday game. 5:00. The Ole Miss Rebels and Alcorn State will do battle in Oxford, Mississippi. Alcorn State, Harrison, 2-24 overall and 0-12 in the SWAC. So
anything can happen in college baseball.
I'm not picking the upset. I'm not picking the upset.
Hey, my hands are clean. I picked the Missouri sweep at Phi Delta Theta Stadium already.
Hey, I ain't picking. I got Ole Miss with that one. Yeah, you are right though, Harrison. I will be locked in on Auburn, Georgia Tech. I think that is the one must-see TV. And I think selfishly, I just want to get a look at your Yellow Jackets. So
yeah, you do. You're not the only one.
Got to get a look at them, man. So going to be a lot of fun, guys. We'd love to know which midweeks you're most fired up for, which ones you're most excited. One last one I'll highlight, Harrison. I mean, the team is a lot better, obviously, than Alcorn State. They're in the same conference. But Tennessee hosting Alabama State. I'd have to imagine the Vols are going to come into that one with a pretty pissed off. I'd have to imagine. And now I can't hear you. Why did I lose Harrison?
I'd be surprised if it wasn't a run roll.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be shooting for that. So that one's also interesting. Again, a lot of great midweeks. Really, really exciting slate upcoming. And, of course, an exciting weekend slate we'll talk about on Thursday when we return. But, guys, we'll be covering all the action all throughout the midweek, of course. You already know the drill. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, throw the Masters on the big screen. Get the quad box going on this little screen.
That's it.
College baseball. I mean, sit back. I mean, I think this week, midweek and upcoming weekend slate deserves you have earned the right to sit in your favorite spot on the couch, your chair, kick the shoes off, kick the feet up, get you a cold beveragino of your choice, and sit there all afternoon, all evening, watch some ball, watch some golf, and just enjoy it.
You heard it from the man himself. Do that. Do that very thing. It's going to be a fun week. Harrison, again, I appreciate you taking the time as always, man. This is always a lot of fun. Guys, if you haven't figured it out yet, no Q&A today because we're not actually live right now at the time of you watching us because, again, our friend Harrison Fant duty calls. We had to get this show in early, so it's actually Sunday night when we're recording. So we promise we'll make up for it. We'll take your questions. You know we do that every night on Friday Night Spikes, but no Q&A to end the show today. If, again, you could not tell, this is not actually happening live. It's like a weird Matrix thing you're stuck in right now. We're not actually, but Chris, we look like we're live. So
when you post the tweet for this, if you have a question, reply underneath.
Yeah.
We'll answer back. Both of us will answer. I'll get back to you probably in the evening, but I'll answer any of the questions as long as they're legitimate questions. And we'll see what happens. I'll enjoy it and I'll answer some questions for everyone. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, fire some questions wherever. Reply to us, DM us, shoot us an email. I don't know. Send us a telegram. However you want to send us a question, we'll take it. Anyways, guys, we appreciate each and every single one of you. It's always a pleasure. Harrison, really appreciate you taking the time, my friend. Have a great week, by the way, at the greatest golf course in the world. I am envious of you getting to be there. I hope and pray I somehow stumble upon a ticket. It ain't probably going to happen, but fingers crossed. Even though last year when I got one, you and I still couldn't meet up because
I blame you for that.
we didn't have fun. Yeah, it was probably my fault.
I have a walkie-talkie and you got no phone. That's hard.
Yeah, I was wandering around and whatever. It is what it is. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you all. We're going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate Harrison Fant obviously taking the time. Does a great job helping me out here on the wind up, us doing the damn thing together. Guys, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, or we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. The wind up will return on Thursday. Until then, for Harrison Fant, I'm Chris Phillips. Once again, this is the Wind Up, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly college baseball show, the best college baseball show on the internet. Enjoy the week of college baseball. Enjoy the midweek, because midweeks matter.
Midweeks
we'll
matter.
Catch you all on Thursday.